The Steve and Jesus Show. We're back. It's another week of fantasy. Steve had a rough week making some predictions last week. Hopefully he could bounce back a little bit.
Let's be fair. We both had a rough week
I was well over 50%, my man. I was in
I'm
the
just saying.
75% range, almost 80%. You was below 50.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
Get it. How was Tom Brady?
Yeah, that was the only one. That was the only one.
The only one? Brandon Cooks. Drew
was...
Brees, Peyton Manning. I could keep going all day, but let's get right to it. Quarterbacks, what you got? Give me your top three that you think are going to explode this week.
All right. Well, I think you have to go with, again, my boy, Drew Brees. I mean, let's be honest. Don't give me that face, Jesus, okay? Let's be honest now. The Bucs and Marcus Mariota, the fact that Mariota threw 4 on them, you have to feel very comfortable on letting Drew Brees going after Tampa Bay, so you have to put him there, okay? My number 2 guy, and you're going to disagree, okay? My number 2 guy is, that's right, Tony Romo. Yeah, that's right, Tony Romo against that Philly defense. And yes, I know you're shaking your head, but hey, even though he lost his main target, he's still going to put up numbers because, hey, like you said, they have an amazing line. They're going to give him protection. He's going to throw all day. And then lastly, I have to go with your boy, Eli Manning, against that Atlanta Falcons defense. I think he'll put some nice numbers up. And with Victor Cruz coming back in it, I did have him tied for also Matt Ryan. I think that's going to be a huge game. You pick any one of those two for the third spot. I turn it over to you, sir.
Listen, it's very, very simple. It's very, very easy. Your top 3 quarterbacks, don't listen to him. Do not play Tony Romo if you have better options. Here are your top 3 quarterbacks. Drew Brees, numero uno, duh. That's obvious. Number 2, you're going to go with Carson Palmer.
Ugh.
That's the guy. Really? Against Chicago? That's a bleh.
Hey,
against Chicago.
He's not Aaron Rodgers.
Who's going to stop them? Did you see
Aaron
what he
Rodgers.
just did? Did you see what he just did?
He's not Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, exactly. That's all you could say. He doesn't have to be Aaron Rodgers. Everybody kills the Chicago Bears defense. Lovie Smith ain't there no more, and he's not walking through that door anytime soon. All right? And number 3, I'm going to go with Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill against Jacksonville. That's where it's at. That's where you got to go. Yes, I know I was wrong about him last week, but this week it's against Jacksonville. If I'm wrong this week, I'm off the bandwagon. I no longer believe in Tannehill, but you got to give him one more week. I think 3 touchdowns is the minimum for him. Too many targets, too many good players out there. Devontae Parker, Jarvis Landry, Greg Jennings, Rashard Matthews, Lamar Miller, Jordan Cameron. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and how many targets this guy has. And he has a great offensive line also. Yes, go with him this week. Let's go to running backs. What you got?
All right, number 1, I know he had a bad week last week, but he is playing against Detroit. You got to put AP numero uno on getting those points back. He is not going to have a bad week. Yes, San Francisco was tough. It was West Coast. There were a lot of things. It's his first game back, but trust me, Adrian Peterson will do better than, I believe, 5 points of what he got you last week. Number 2, I got to go with Matt Forte. Simply, I know he's playing an Arizona defense, but Matt Forte will continue to look good. I think he's going to put up big numbers even against that defense. He catches, he can run, he's going to get into the end zone. I know you're shaking your head, Jesus, but Matt Forte is definitely my number 2. And number 3, playing against Dallas, his former team, DeMarco Murray. Yeah, I see you smiling.
I agree with that one. I like that one. I like that one.
All right.
I like that one.
He's going to put up points. He's going to big up big. Yes, I know you're saying I'm taking a chance on Matt Forte, but those are my top 3 for next week.
All right, where am I going this week? Number 1, I think Marshawn Lynch going against Green Bay.
I like that one. I like that one.
Yeah, you. Oh, by the way, you were wrong about Marshawn Lynch last week too. I believe you had him ranked number 2.
I didn't have him 2. I had him high though. I did have him high.
Yeah, it was top 3. He was in your top 3. He absolutely was in your top 3. Yeah, we could bring. Let's bring back the records. Exactly. Yeah. Number 2, I'm actually gonna go with. I'll go with Jeremy Hill against San Diego. I think he's gonna play very, very well. And number 3, I'm gonna go with Jamal Charles against Denver. Those are your three guys. Just play them, throw them out there. Those are all really solid running backs. They do work week in and week out. Marshawn Lynch went against a brutal St. Louis defense last week. He's playing Green Bay defense. You saw what Matt Forte just did to them. Marshawn Lynch could do the exact same thing. Yes, I know Fred Jackson takes touches away, but it doesn't matter because Marshawn Lynch still goes into beast mode. He still scores touchdowns. He still does exactly what he has to do. Those are your guys. Let's go to receivers. What you got?
Hey, I was good on receivers, I believe. Yeah,
You were
that's
better
right.
than me. That's
Right. That's right. So I'm gonna give you the keys
Well,
to
no,
success
because
again.
number one was Brandon Cooks.
I'm gonna give you the keys. No, he was not. By the way, actually, he was not. It was Antonio Brown.
No, sir.
So
No, sir.
stop
No,
it.
sir.
Stop
No,
it.
sir.
But anyways,
it was Brandon Cooks number one, and then you said number two was
are you gonna
going
let
to
me
be
go? Are you gonna let me go? Are you gonna let me go?
Maybe.
Okay.
Once you
All
admit
right,
it, Brandon
number
Cooks was
one. Number one. I did have Brandon Cooks high, but I didn't have him the high.
He was
Number one. Number one again is going to be Julio Jones. Julio Jones is going to do great against the New York Giants defense. You say he's not going to do great, but I'm sorry.
I didn't say that.
Well, you did say that the Giants secondary was better than the best. I'm sorry. I had that game as far as points going up. You just said that in an earlier, off the screen, we'll say. But
I never said Julio Jones was not going to play well.
Yeah, okay. All right. Well, I have him. Number one, you have to play him. Number two, I think it's going to be I really have to go for this person because I think they're going to have – and if he plays, I want to go with Mike Evans. I think Mike Evans, if he's healthy, is going to do a very good and bounce back. He's playing against New Orleans defense, which is not the best, and he's the only target there. I mean, look, if Safarian Jenkins can get you 2 touchdowns with him gone, what is Mike Evans going to do when he actually plays? So stop it, Jesus, okay? And then number 3, I think it's going to be Demaryius Thomas. I think Demaryius Thomas will be able to put up some good points. What is with you in the face? Demaryius Thomas is going to put up points. I know he had a bad week last week, but he's going to bounce back. These numbers are not normal.
Gary
so what say you?
Coach there.
What say
Gary
you?
Kubiak's the head coach there, just so you know.
Stop it.
I mean, it's very simple. I mean, I'm going to go, I think a bounce back week, you're looking at Calvin Johnson and A.J. Green have absolute bounce back weeks this week. They have very good matchups. Antonio Brown, well, I know you guys all love him. I get it. I understand. But I just think that this is not the week to go with Antonio Brown. I mean, obviously you have to play with it. You have to play him. But this is not the week to expect him to absolutely go berserk. So this may be a week that he's going to put up about a touchdown and maybe 80 yards around there, which is not going to be top receiver points. I'm actually going to go with DeAndre Hopkins as my number 3 receiver against Carolina. I love that. I love the matchup. DeAndre Hopkins, I think from what I'm hearing, Mallett is now the starter, so he will do absolutely well. Again, Julio Jones, Antonio Brown, they're not up there, but that doesn't mean that you bench them because they are all going to put up double digits. I'm talking about guys that are going to explode, and these are the guys that are going to explode. Let's go to tight ends. What you got?
For tight ends, I mean, I think it's kind of basic. I mean, you have to go with the main man from the Patriots. You got to go with Gronk, number 1. I mean, you have to.
Even against Buffalo?
Even against Buffalo. Even though, Andrew Luck didn't play well and we know the defense that they have. I'm sorry. You got to go with Gronk. Gronk's going to continue to put up big numbers. Then after that, I mean, it's really your usual 2. I still say you go with Jimmy Graham 2 and Olsen 3. I know you guys don't want to hear anything else. Maybe you can make a case for Kelsey playing against Denver. I don't see it. I know Witten did good, and Witten's going to be playing against Philadelphia. You can make a case for him at number 3. But, I mean, I did tell you guys also would be the 3 last week, and he didn't have a great game against Jacksonville. Don't be concerned for you fans out there that are Olsen fans. Don't get off the bandwagon just yet. It's only 1 game. Olsen's going to get the targets. He's going to get the yardage. That's my top 3.
All right. Number 1, you have to go with Gronk. Yes, I get it. He's going to go against Buffalo. But, again, I've said this before. I'll say it again. New England is in angry mode. They are going to shut up the entire league, and they're going to go berserk. That's number 1. Number 2, I do agree. I think Jimmy Graham plays very well. Number 3, I say you go with Travis Kelce. Those are your 3 guys. Those are the 3 that you play. As for in response to Mr. Steve and Greg Olsen, Sell. Sell immediately. Get rid of him. Do not keep him on your team. That offensive line is this most disgusting offensive line I've ever seen. I mean, it's that bad. It's that when you have Cam Newton, a guy who can run, getting sacked as much as he's getting sacked and getting hit as much as he's getting hit, you have a major problem at the offensive line. You have to get rid of Greg Olsen. He will not be a top 5 tight end this week. He will not be a top 5 tight end for the season. It's just get rid of him. It's not because the targets aren't there. It's because of the offensive line. The talent and everything else is there, but the offensive line is just really bad. So get rid of him. Sell.
I don't know. I think you can still keep him because here's the thing. We both acknowledge that the Panthers are not a good team, right? We can agree with that.
Yeah.
So we know 9 times, and they played against Jacksonville and they dominated, but that was more of on the defensive end. But, on the offensive end, they struggled. And this was, again, against Jacksonville. So when they get behind against good teams, they're going to have to throw the ball. They're going to be behind. Maybe you can get garbage points from Olsen. I'm just saying.
I get what you're saying. My thing is defenses are going to pin their ears back when they're playing from behind, and that means even more hits for Cam. That's the only reason why. I get what you're saying because they're going to play from behind. You're absolutely right about that. The problem is when the defense knows you're going to pass, and they're going to pin their ears back, and they're just going to rush the quarterback, and you can't respect the run. So yeah, I get rid of Olsen. If you can get rid of him, sell him immediately. Next up, we got your favorite position, defense.
If you guys took care of my advice, I basically won you fantasy games last week.
You did. He's right about that. Defense is that's his thing. That's the one thing that he's better than me at in life.
Whoa, calm down now. Calm down. So
go ahead, what you got?
All right. Number 1, based on last week, you have a better defense now playing this very same team. If you have him, and this team should not be available on the waiver wire. But if they are, you better grab them ASAP. Otherwise, if you have them, you're golden. It's the Dolphins against that Jacksonville Jaguars. They're going to put up the same similar numbers. You're going to see 20 points from the Dolphins. My number 2 team that you need to start is you need to go with the Rams against Washington. The Rams are a great defense. They know how to sack. Washington is still a bad team. You're going to get the points there. You got to put them number 2. And my number 3 team, definitely go against with the Ravens against Oakland. The Ravens are going to put up great numbers against them. All those 3, however you can get them, start them. You're going to get 10 plus easily.
This is easy this week. You got Dolphins 1 against Jacksonville. Steve's absolutely right. Number 2, you go with Houston against Carolina. They are going to pin their ears back. You have probably the best tandem at pass rush. You have J.J. Watt on one end. You have Clowney on the other end. They are not going to be able to stop the pass rush. That's just what they do.
They didn't perform last week. I gave that recommendation.
Did you see the offense? J.J. Watt was an absolute monster.
He was.
That's not correct at all. Yeah, that's not a correct statement. And they played against one of the best offensive lines in football in Kansas City's offensive line. This is not Kansas City offensive line. So, yes, you go with Houston number 2. And number 3, Steve's right, you have to go with the Ravens. The Ravens against Oakland, that's juicy. Especially if, Carr, from what I'm hearing, is hoping to play. But even if he does play, Ravens, I mean, you saw what they did to Peyton Manning and Denver's offense. Even without Terrell Suggs, I know Terrell Suggs is out for the season by tearing his ACL. I still say you go with them against Oakland. That's where you play. Now I think it's break time. Sport and Debate, here's the word from them. That's who sponsors the show. We got to show our respect. Get it?
Sport and Debate is more than just a website or a podcast to me. It's a platform for all fans from the diehard to the casual to come together and embrace their love and their passion for sports. And I think that's what separates us from the rest. We love that passion and we're ready to embrace the debate.
All right, and we're back. We're going to take some questions. We got 3 of them from our fans, the followers, the people that love listening in. Let's go ahead. Let's get right to it. This first question is from @Josh Skywalking. Who should I start this week, Tyler Eifert or Greg Olsen?
Hey, I'm sorry. I know you're going to say most likely Eifert. I still say you play Olsen. Olsen, it's only 1 week. Olsen's going to still get the targets. If they fall behind, they're still going to throw the ball. You're going to get trash points no matter what. We've established Carolina's not a good team. I still say you play Olsen.
Yeah, you go with Eifert. Until Eifert gets hurt, which he will get hurt because it happens every year with him. You go with Eifert this week. Again, I told you guys, Olsen is not that he's a bad player. It's not that they lacks talent. It's the offensive line. They just are not going to be able to do anything. If it's a PPR league, Olsen may get you a lot of catches. He may get you 8 catches for 50 yards. If it's not a PPR though, what's the value in 5 points? It's really not one. So you go with Tyler Eifert. Next up, we have, this is from at Natty Was Here. Who should I start this week? DeAndre Hopkins or Julian Edelman?
Oh, this is easy. You got DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, Julian Edelman is great in PPR if you are playing in a PPR league, but I mean, you got to go with DeAndre and the big play talent that he is able to bring. Edelman's just not that guy. He's a get you 10 catches for 60 yards type of player. That's what he is. He'll occasionally get you a touchdown, but if you're looking for a bigger upside, you got to go with Hopkins.
Absolutely. Last one we got here is from well, I didn't give mine, did I?
No,
I'm
you
gonna
did
go
not.
with him. Yes, it's DeAndre Hopkins.
Okay, all right.
DeAndre. I guess because it's such an easy question, I was just like, yeah, you go with DeAndre Hopkins. Even if it's a PPR, DeAndre Hopkins will get a lot of catches also. And Julian Edelman's going against Buffalo. Again, that's not an easy matchup. People forget. Look what the stress they caused to the Colts, I believe it was last week. Yeah, they caused a problem.
Yep.
Lastly, this is from the Little Lay. Who should I start this week, Justin Forsett or Joseph Randle?
This is a pretty tough one, but I think you still have to go with Forsett. Randall it's with that backfield, you just don't know what you get. You got to go with Forsett. You know, Forsett, if you're in that situation, that's, first of all, it kind of stinks, but I think you have to go with Forsett just based on what we've seen, recently from Dallas and that's my opinion. Jesus.
Very easy. I'm going to actually go with the opposite. I'm going to go with Joseph Randle against that horrible Eagles defense. I mean, I think Dallas is going to go into this game and they're going to say, well, the Eagles are going to try to go ahead and push the ball and push, right? Because they're playing, if I'm not mistaken, they're playing them, right?
Yep.
So they're going to want to push the ball and go fast. So the Cowboys are going to do the opposite. They're going to want to milk the clock. They know they don't have the targets that the Eagles do. So they're going to want to run the ball, which means Joseph Randle's going to get a lot of touches. That offensive line, you're going to get points from that. So, yeah, I'm making this very clear. Gary Kubiak is no longer in Baltimore, people. He's no longer in Baltimore, which means Justin Forsett is now the Justin Forsett that couldn't really find a job throughout his career. He was a special teams guy, third down running back. That's really what he was.
Yeah.
And that's what he's going to go back to being. So let's everybody just get off of this Justin Forsett train, please, and let's realize the facts. Not that Joseph Randle was that much better, like you said.
Yeah.
It's a bad situation.
That's a bad situation, exactly.
But you go with Randle this week, and yeah, you just hope and cross your fingers that it works out.
Yeah.
All right, let's wrap it up. Now we got just a couple more things. Steve, who has their bounce back week this week, or do you want me to go first with the bounce back week?
Bounce back week for quarterback, I really think is going
just
to be...
overall, whatever position.
Oh, whatever position. For people out there who were big on Cooks, I think Cooks has a bounce back week against Tampa, and I did say Cooks would be one of the top guys last week. Unfortunately, Arizona did a good job of containing him. Let's be honest, that Bucs defense looked horrible. So I think Cooks is going to be a monster come Sunday.
Okay, I'm actually going to go with Calvin Johnson against Minnesota. I think Calvin Johnson, just watch out. He only got, I believe, 4 targets.
Yeah,
that's not
crazy.
Happening again.
Yeah.
That's not happening again. So, yeah, no. Overrated for this week. Who is the guy that everybody's hyping up that is not going to perform up to par?
If I had to pick a player that's rated high, I'd probably have to say Jeremy. No, I'll say Jeremy Hill. I think Jeremy Hill, the projections out there for him are quite high. He is playing against San Diego, and I get there's an opportunity there. I just don't think he's going to hit that number that the projection says, so I would proceed with caution.
I'm going to go with the guy that didn't have a good week last week, and I don't think he's going to have a good week this week, and that's Peyton Manning. He has Gary Kubiak. Gary Kubiak likes to run the ball. That offensive line is not good right now. That is the guy stay away from. Please, I beg of you guys, do not play him.
All right.
Um, Lastly, Steve, what do you got to say to your fans out there for last week? How do you bounce back this week? And then I'll go after you.
It's there's no bounce back. These are recommendations. At the end of the day, you have to manage your roster and you have to go with what opportunities you have out there. All right. I mean, at the end of the day, it depends on your situation. If if you're in a PPR or if you're in a type of league we're in where you're doing a dynasty slash where you're doing keepers and not, it's all about the situation. If you're down big early and you're not forced to set your roster before 1 o'clock, like most leagues, standard leagues, I would like to call them, are set, then you wait and you take the gamble if you're down. If you're not down, you go with the safe play. So just basics, simple basics to fantasy. Know where you're at within the game, how many players you have left, how the other team is setting up their roster, because it's all about, playing against that.
Look, I'm gonna go ahead. He was very polite about it. I'm gonna be honest. At the end of the day, this is advice that we're giving you. It's your team. So if you lose, you lose. We don't lose. All right. Yes, I did very well last week, but just as good as I did last week, I could do just as bad as this week. So that's fantasy. You never know. You can't predict what's going to happen. So please take the advice, but do your own research at the end of the day. You make the final decision. You make the final call. All right. There's certain people out there. There's certain professionals that yes, we make money off doing this stuff, and they do. But the key is we giving you advice. We're not telling you this is what you have to do. When I give you my top 3 quarterbacks and I have Tannehill up there and I don't have Luck, I'm not telling you to go ahead and bench Luck and start Tannehill. It's not what I'm saying. I'm telling you this is what I think is going to happen for this week. Who's going to play better? But you do not do that, because if I was in that position, I'm still starting Luck, because it's a
Absolutely.
game of percentages. You go with the less risk. That's what you do. That's what we got. That's our show. Everybody, good luck this week. Stay safe. Be safe. We out. Peace.